You can see this picture of this young girl. A number of years ago, uh, she was homeless. And one of my sons had met her and invited her to come stay in our home. We had a big house, lots of room. People would come and stay all the time. She stayed for a couple of weeks, and I had the opportunity to talk to her. My son talked to her a lot. They became really good friends. But uh, about 4 years ago, she had a real trouble past. She had a lot of. She had the condition where you were radical changes. I can't think of the term that they have for that. Um, but and she had a child from a guy that was not a very good guy, and he was constantly doing really bad things to her and making her do things which she was very ashamed of. About 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, she was walking down the street, not very far from where I'm at right now, and she carried with her a replica in her back pants of a gun. It was fake. Well, some woman called the police and said that this girl was walking down with a gun, and the police came, and as she was walking, it's actually on YouTube. You can actually see it. Uh, he told her to get down on her knees and raise her hands up. So she starts to get down on her knees, but in order to do that, she had to pull the gun out from behind her. So when she was just pulling it out, the cop shot her 7 times, killed her. My son was talking to me about it the other day with tears in his eyes, because this was a gal that didn't need to die like that. The cop, he had real, the family's suing, they've been suing for a long time. He had real itchy fingers. I never understand why he had to, do lethal force like that. It's just, the cop says, I'm so scared for my life. I think that I had to defend. Man, go get another job. If you're that petrified and scared to, I mean, you shoot a young girl like that. I hate to see things like that. But, we're in the book of Ecclesiastes. And imagine, if you would, living in a closed system, totally enclosed, sort of like a bubble around, and nothing outside of that bubble can get in. Now picture the whole world like that in an enclosed system. So God is somewhere out there, somewhere like the deists believe. He's off on vacation somewhere. But he's not involved in life, nor does he give you any information, he give you any determination as to your future, nothing. You're in a closed system. So all the information you get, all the wisdom you get, and all the insight you get is what you find in that closed system. And inside that closed system is a lot of misinformation, a lot of ideas and beliefs that can be streetwise, can also be folly, can also be utter madness. I think of that young girl and I think, as innocent as what she was doing to pull that thing out, she was carrying that in order to protect herself from this guy. It probably was not the brightest thing to do, And in fact, in her case, it was utter madness. It cost her life. I think of people that have a lot of street wisdom and they create axioms or little sayings as to how to get by. For instance, The Godfather. Keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer. In And so the world system has all this information that borders on street wisdom, outright folly, foolishness, and incredible madness. I think what Biden did when he went to the Ukraine recently and told the Ukrainian president, you're okay now to shoot your missiles into Russia, our missiles. Well, you know, Russia already retaliated by sending a ballistic missile into Ukraine. Why would he do that? That's madness. Okay? Much of the woke madness that we went through these past 8 years, you know, with gender misidentification, with transgenders, with drag queens going in schools and public places, you know, opening your borders up to all kinds of people that are not legally here or here for good motives. Like a lot of them did come with good motives, you know. The COVID vaccine, telling people they got to wear masks. All this utter madness in this closed system. Solomon's looking at all of this, and he's trying to make sense of it all under the sun. That's what's under the sun, people. Street wisdom, folly, and madness. Which category do you fall into? You're going to fall into one of those three apart from God. You believe in evolution, you believe the world. I see all the time the Discovery Channel and different nature shows, oh, this has been millions of years old, we just discovered the skull. It's madness. So Solomon's looking at all this in this closed system apart from God. And he's already had a number of observations. One was, my goodness, what an incredible toil God has placed on man in this place called earth, apart from him. And he says this in chapter 2, he says, then I turned my thoughts to consider wisdom and also madness and folly. What more can the king's successor do than what has already been done? I saw that wisdom is better than folly, just as light is better than darkness. The wise man has eyes in his head. I'm not talking about physical eyes. He's talking about street wisdom. While the fool walks into darkness, doesn't have the ability to relate cause and effect or to understand consequences. But I came to realize, and this really struck home with Solomon, I came to realize that the same fate overtakes them both. Both the streetwise person, the person that engages in folly, the fool, at the end they both die. Death overtakes them both. And then he says, I thought in my heart, the fate of the fool will overtake me also. What then do I gain by being wise? I remember years ago, Aristotle Onassis said, oh, the richest man in the world. Married Kennedy's widow, Jacqueline Kennedy. And he was getting sick, and he consulted all the greatest doctors in the world, hospitals and all that, but he couldn't extend his life. And Solomon says here, the fate of the fool will overtake me also. What then do I gain by being wise? And I said in my heart, this too is meaningless. For the wise man, like the fool, will not be long remembered. In days to come, both will be forgotten. Like the fool, the wise man must die also. I feel for that young girl. I looked at that video and I watched that cop kill her. He didn't shoot her one time, not twice. She's there, getting down on her knee, not 3 times, not 4 times, not 5 times, not 6 times, 7 times. All over. Anyway. Madness in the heart of the cop, folly in the heart of that girl. Wisdom, street wisdom, I didn't see it. No common sense there, no discernment, no picture of God there. The only good thing, and I was telling my son, was this, is that girl knew the Lord Jesus Christ as her Savior. And though she's dead, she was alive. She was in this closed system, and this closed system killed her. My son said, what could I have done? What could I have done? He would have done anything for her to keep her alive. And sometimes people, there's nothing you can do. If you believe that our life is encased in a closed system, and God does not exist beyond the universe and within, in a personal, affectionate, and deep way to engage himself in every activity of our lives as a loving Father, you don't have a lot of hope. And that's what Solomon says in the very end. It all amounts to nothing. We're both going to die. I'm telling you, reading through Ecclesiastes is a real eye-opener. But see, I have an understanding. If I was to read this without having an understanding of the book, I'd be really depressed. But I know that what he's doing is exploring life apart from God so that you and I do not have to experience that. It'd be very wise of you, not street wisdom, but biblical wisdom. And what is that? It's the ability to see life from God's vantage point, from his perspective. To take what Solomon is saying, and you don't have to go seek for meaning and purpose. He's already done it for you. There is nothing in this world that will satisfy you. You want to be satisfied? You got to come to the Lord Jesus Christ. You got to say to him, day in and day out, Lord, I belong to you. Use me as whatever you want. Take me wherever you want me to go. But if you're looking for pleasures in cruise ships, if you're looking for pleasures in people, if you're looking for pleasures in material things, if you're looking for pleasures in anything, or any kind of work, projects or anything, if you're looking for all that to find life satisfaction, let me tell you, as Solomon said, at the very end, it's going to be meaningless. One of the saddest testimonies I heard was from a pro football player who had won the Super Bowl. And after he won it, the following week, he says, now what? Now what? It didn't continually satisfy. Now I got to win another one. Then another one. It doesn't satisfy. Now what? People, God bless you. Read through Ecclesiastes. Try not to get too off track. I shared one portion this morning, and so true. It was about I'll talk about that when we get to it. God bless you all. Do the right thing.